Rather than thinking of the people who produce the food in large scale, I always think of consumers rather than, why do corporates or, big company produce so much food? Because people want them, right? Because people keeps on consuming. They always want, easy, cheap food without thinking of the background. If people didn't want those food, company won't produce those food. We have to consider what we're eating. We are what we eat. You don't want to waste your food. I mean, to grow food, it's just two words, growing food. But it's a long process. It's not like you see in the books or in the movies. My name is Aya. I'm from Japan originally, but I've been living in Ecuador for over 20 years. Since this place was just for pasture, the soil was very tough. So we started growing with green manure. We have some animals so that we have manure to produce fertilizer, and it will provide the oxygen into the soil. So we started planting that, and after cutting them, that will be organic material for the soil. I started to produce like jams. Because I have some fruit like lemons, blackberries, peaches, plums. I even make sauces from those fruit. Whatever I have. It took like 3 years or so until our fruit trees start to produce. So when I found our first lemon, I was like, oh my gosh. So I used the skin, the fruit. I made some cosmetic out of it from the seed. It's just so precious. I was so grateful. You can't waste the food. And you just can't go buy easy food and produce so much waste. Not necessarily the food, but plastic, the boxes. I mean, if you see slaughter animal, chickens or pig or cows to eat, I think your way of thinking will change. How you are, where do all this meat or vegetable come from? I don't think you can waste it. And I think you start to think you have to eat everything. No, not just picking sirloin or just chicken wings or just good part. You start thinking you have to use everything. Yeah, I think it's to both ways, from consumers and the producers. Like producers try to control the human, people to buy more, and then people are so controlled, and you keep thinking of buying more, wasting more, just this kind of circulation. So we have to cut that off. So that's what I think. You don't need so much food to live. It's very important to create our community. To connect to each other and connect with the earth, to live in an environment like how can I explain? I try to have a farm where I can produce my own food and raise children, and it's tough. To grow food, you have to constantly be there. It's a long process, and even after harvest, it's another process. And I enjoy that, but I try to be less reliable on money system. However, you have to spend a lot of money on education, for some fuel, maintenance, for your clothing, etc., etc. I think I have achieved a part of my dream, being able to live in a farm, live in a house, and eat your own food. That process, including all the joy and all the suffering, I think that whole thing is my goal, to live in that process, to pursue a sustainable way of life.
As the expectation of coldness nudges in, as the clock changes its digital shape to signify the death of a season, Matt and I wait, embrace. Orange dim light in the renovated kitchen, insect songs pouring through the window, anticipating the great change.